Hi everyone, this is Cooking with Kurt. Today, my husband Donald and I are going to show you how to make Ube Portuguese Egg Tarts, a Filipino twist on the famous Pasteis de Nata.
These are flaky and crispy puff pastry with a creamy ube custard filling.
We recommend making the puff pastry the day before baking the tarts. To start, take 12 tablespoons of unsalted butter and let it come to room temperature. Divide it equally into 3 separate bowls, 4 tablespoons of butter each, and whisk the butter so you have 3 bowls of spreadable butter. Set these aside. In the bowl of your stand mixer, add in 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, ½ cup of cool water, and 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. With the paddle attachment, mix on low speed until the mixture comes together and has a tacky consistency. Stop the mixer, switch to the dough hook attachment, and knead on low speed till it becomes a smooth ball. Cover this ball of dough with plastic wrap and let it rest in the fridge for 1 to 2 hours or until it reaches 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Remove the plastic wrap and roll the dough into a 12-inch by 12-inch square. Spread butter from one of the 3 bowls on 2/3 of the dough surface, leaving a 1-inch rim around the edge of the dough. Carefully peel dough off the surface and fold the unbuttered third of the dough over the middle. Then press gently to push any air bubbles out on the sides. Then fold the opposite end over like a letter. Straighten the edges as needed. Again, press gently to push any air bubbles out on the sides. Pat the dough to seal the edges. Transfer the dough to a parchment paper-lined baking sheet, cover with plastic wrap, and let the dough rest in the fridge for 1 hour or till the butter reaches 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. When the butter has cooled to 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, roll the dough into another 12-inch by 12-inch square. Again, spread butter from the second of the 3 bowls on 2/3 of the dough surface, leaving a 1-inch rim around the edge of the dough. Using a bench scraper as needed, flip the unbuttered third of dough over the middle and fold the opposite end over like a letter. Straighten the edges as needed. Press the edges to seal and pat the dough, releasing any air bubbles at the sides. Transfer the dough to a parchment paper-lined baking sheet and cover with plastic wrap, and let the dough rest in the fridge again for another hour till it reaches 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. When the butter has cooled to 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, roll the dough into another 12-inch by 12-inch square. Spread the last bowl of spreadable butter all over the dough, leaving a 1-inch border just on the top edge to help seal the dough. Starting with the edge closest to you, roll the dough into a tight log, sealing the dough at the unbuttered edge. Make the ends even and flat as needed. Wrap in plastic wrap, place it on the parchment paper-lined sheet pan, and refrigerate until very firm, at least 2 hours, but preferably overnight.
When the dough has rested in the fridge overnight, you're ready to make the creamy ube custard filling. In a medium saucepan, add 3/4 cup granulated sugar and 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of water, and do not stir. Heat over high heat. Bring this to a boil, and again, do not stir, and cook till it reaches 215 degrees Fahrenheit. As soon as it reaches 215 degrees Fahrenheit, turn off the heat and let it sit until ready to use. In a small saucepan, add in 1 cup of milk and heat it over medium heat until bubbles begin to form around the edges. Let the hot milk cool for 10 minutes. In a large mixing bowl, add in 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and ½ cup of whole milk. Whisk this together to combine. While continuing to whisk, slowly add the hot milk in a slow, steady stream. Then whisk the sugar syrup into the milk mixture in a slow, steady stream. Return everything back to the saucepan the sugar syrup was in and cook over low-medium heat, stirring constantly until it's thick enough to coat the back of a spoon, about 5 to 10 minutes. Turn off the heat. The custard should be quite thin and runny. While whisking constantly, add in 6 egg yolks, 1 yolk at a time. Then add half a teaspoon of ube extract into the mixture and whisk until well combined. Strain this custard mixture through a fine mesh sieve into a bowl or measuring cup with a spout. Press plastic wrap onto the surface of the custard so a skin does not form on top. Set this aside to cool completely to room temperature.
When your custard has cooled completely to room temperature and you're ready to assemble and bake the tarts, place an oven rack in the middle position and preheat your oven to 475 degrees Fahrenheit. Take a standard 12-cup muffin pan. This has a top diameter of 2.75 inches for each well. And butter each well generously. Take the dough log out of the fridge, remove the plastic wrap, and roll the log back and forth, elongating it till it's exactly 12 inches long. Then cut it into 12 equal pieces. Transfer these 12 pieces onto a parchment paper lined sheet pan and place these pieces of dough in the fridge so they stay cool. Taking one piece of dough at a time, let it warm up to 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. When it reaches that temperature, flatten it with a rolling pin and roll it into a disc that has a diameter of 5 inches. Use a bench scraper to peel the disc off the counter. Place the 5-inch diameter disc into the well of the muffin pan and press it into the well so that the dough extends about 1/8 inch above the top rim of the muffin pan. Put the muffin pan back in the fridge to keep the molded dough cold while rolling out the next circle. Repeat this with the remaining dough, taking 1 inch of dough out of the fridge at a time, letting it warm to 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and putting the muffin tin back in the fridge while rolling out the next circle of dough. It's crucial that the butter remains cold, not warming above 60 degrees Fahrenheit when it's being shaped. When all the 12 wells are filled with the molded dough, rest the muffin pan in the freezer for a minimum of 30 minutes. When the molded dough has chilled in the freezer for 30 minutes and the custard has cooled to room temperature, quickly pour the custard into the 12 wells, distributing them evenly, which should go up about 2/3 of the way up. Work quickly, as you don't want to give the custard any chance of soaking into the pastry dough. It's important to have the oven ready to go once you start pouring custard into the shells. Place the pan on the middle rack in the 475 degree Fahrenheit preheated oven, close the oven door, and immediately turn the temperature down to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Bake for a total of 20 to 30 minutes. Rotating the pan at the 15-minute mark for even browning. The tarts are done when the shells are golden brown and crisp, and the tops of the custard are browned in spots. Let them cool in the muffin pan for 5 minutes. Then transfer the tarts to a metal rack to cool further. Serve warm. Store leftovers in an airtight container in the fridge and reheat at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 to 10 minutes. And there it is, Ube Portuguese Egg Tarts. Flaky, crispy puff pastry filled with a creamy ube custard. Ang sarap.
Yum.
So good. The crust is so flaky and crunchy.
And I love that rich, burnt, bubbly ube filling. Delicious.
Thank you so much for watching. Please let us know in the comment section below if you're planning to make these Ube Portuguese Egg Tarts. Send us pictures of your creations on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Links below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Cooking with Kurt.
And don't forget to click on the bell so you get notified when we post new cooking videos. And for our written recipes and more, be sure to check out cookingwithkurt.com. Maraming salamat!